There are seasons in life when people leave us, sometimes suddenly, sometimes slowly. Their departure can feel like a wound that won't heal. You may have thought they were part of your forever. You may have made room for them in your heart, your plans, your prayers, but they walked away. And in that moment, you may have questioned everything. Your identity, your value, even your faith. But what if I told you that their leaving was not a curse, but part of God's divine orchestration? What if their exit was not your defeat, but your preparation? God is not surprised by those who walk out of your life. In fact, there are moments when He allows them to leave. Not because you're unlovable, but because He is removing what was never meant to remain. Just as a gardener prunes a tree to help it grow, God sometimes prunes our lives, removing the branches that no longer serve the purpose He has prepared. This isn't punishment. It's preparation. It's divine rearrangement. It's God making room. We often hold on to people God is trying to move out of our path, not because they are evil or bad, but because their season in your story has ended. They were part of your development, not your destination. They helped you learn, helped you grow, even helped you see yourself more clearly, but they were not assigned to walk with you into the next chapter. And the longer we cling to what God is trying to remove, the more we delay what He is trying to send. Abraham had to leave Lot before he could fully step into the promise. Gideon had to reduce his army before victory came. Even Jesus experienced separation. The crowds that followed Him turned away when the road became hard. He was betrayed, denied, abandoned. And yet all of it was part of God's greater purpose. When people leave, it hurts. But sometimes that hurt is holy. Sometimes it's heaven sent. Because God sees what we cannot see. He knows where you're going, and He knows who can go with you and who cannot. You may not understand why they left. You may replay the conversations, the misunderstandings, the apologies that were never given, and the questions that were never answered. But God doesn't need your closure to bring about His promise. He's not waiting for them to come back to bless you. He's not dependent on anyone's loyalty or approval to fulfill His plan in your life. He is God all by Himself. And when He begins to remove, it's because He's preparing to replace. The space that's now empty in your life is not a void, it's a vessel. It's an opening for something new, something better, something ordained by the Lord. God never subtracts without the intention to add. He never removes without the purpose to restore. But restoration doesn't always look like getting back what you lost. Sometimes it means receiving what you didn't know you needed, what you didn't even know to pray for, what you couldn't see because the wrong people were blocking the view. Letting go isn't failure, it's faith. Faith that the God who sees the end from the beginning knows what He's doing. Faith that the one who holds the stars also holds your story. Faith that the doors He shuts are not punishments but protections. And faith that when He says He's making room, He truly is preparing something worth waiting for. You may feel alone now, but you're not abandoned. You may feel empty, but you are being made ready. Every loss, every departure, every closed door may simply be the sound of heaven rearranging your life for something greater. Don't mistake divine preparation for rejection. Don't confuse God's pruning for punishment. There are some people who could never walk into your destiny because they were never designed to fit in that space. When someone walks out of your life, especially someone you trusted, it can leave you feeling broken and unworthy. The pain has a way of echoing in your heart, making you wonder if you were enough. You begin to question yourself, your value, and your place in this world. But the truth is, your worth is not defined by the people who left. It is not measured by their ability to recognize your beauty, your heart, your loyalty, or your love. People are limited. Their vision is flawed. They often leave because they can't see the treasure that stands before them. God never asks anyone else to determine your worth. He never left it up to others to validate you. Your identity comes from Him. You were fearfully and wonderfully made. You were formed in your mother's womb by the hands of the Creator. You were chosen, set apart, and deeply loved before you ever took your first breath. That truth does not change because someone failed to see it. That truth does not disappear when someone walks away. What you lost does not reduce who you are. You gave was not wasted. The time you invested was not in vain. The kindness you showed, the patience you offered, the grace you extended, none of it was a mistake. It revealed the strength of your heart and the beauty of your spirit. When they left, they didn't take your value with them. They only made room for someone who will see it clearly. someone who won't question it, someone who will honor it. You are not less than because someone walked away. You are still who God says you are, precious, purposeful, and complete in Him. Their leaving may have shaken you, but it never changed your worth that when people leave you. It can feel like you're standing in the middle of a storm with no shelter. Their absence can feel like a loud silence, a void that echoes with every memory. But even when others walk away, God's presence remains. He does not shift with the seasons or turn His back when life gets heavy. He does not grow tired of your pain or weary of your questions. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. When everyone else is gone, God is still there. He is near to the brokenhearted. He is a refuge in times of trouble. When you lie awake at night with tears in your eyes, He's there. When you feel like you can't take another step, He's holding you. When your heart is too heavy to carry, He lifts it for you. The presence of God is not a theory. It is a reality that walks into the deepest places of your hurt and stays. He does not leave because you're struggling. He draws closer. You may feel abandoned by people, but you are never abandoned by God. You may have lost someone who mattered deeply to you, but you have not lost the one who matters most. God does not love conditionally. He doesn't walk away when the road gets hard. His commitment to you is not based on your performance. It's based on His promise. And that promise is eternal. You don't have to pretend you're okay to stay close to Him. You don't have to have the right words or the perfect faith. His presence meets you in your reality, not your perfection. People might leave in your weakness, but God shows up in it. He is Emmanuel, God with us, not just in the good, but in the grief. The loneliness and the silence, there is a sacred tension in waiting. When someone leaves your life, especially someone you love deeply, the emptiness they leave behind can feel unbearable. You may wonder if that space will ever be filled, if love will ever return, if someone will come along who chooses to stay. But God is not idle in your waiting. His silence is not absence. His delay is not denial. Behind the scenes, He is working with perfect timing, orchestrating every detail, preparing someone whose presence will not only comfort you, but also honor the depth of who you are. God never rushes what He is preparing with love. He takes His time to build what will last. While you're waiting, He's refining your heart. He's strengthening your spirit. He's shaping your understanding of love so that when the right person arrives, you won't settle for less than what is holy, healing, and true. The wait is not a punishment. It is a process of becoming. It is the space where you learn that your fulfillment does not come from being chosen by someone else, but from knowing you've already been chosen by God. The person He's preparing for you will not be perfect, but they will be present. They will see the beauty in your soul, not just the image you show the world. They will love you in your low moments, not just your high ones. They will not run when things get hard. They will pray with you, grow with you, and walk with you through every season. God's timing ensures you are not just loved, but loved well. And when that person enters your life, you'll see why the wait was necessary, why the pain had purpose, and why every delay was part of a divine design greater than you could imagine. Letting go is never easy, especially when your heart was all in, when your intentions were pure, when you gave your best to someone who chose to walk away. There's a kind of ache that settles in when you're forced to release what you hoped would last. But healing begins the moment you stop holding on to who left and start holding on to what God promised. Healing is not forgetting, and it's not pretending you were never hurt. It's allowing God to step into that pain and do what only He can do: restore, rebuild, renew. When you try to carry the weight of broken relationships on your own, it crushes your spirit. But when you give it to God, when you surrender the bitterness, the confusion, the longing, something begins to shift inside you. Healing doesn't come through revenge or understanding why they left. It comes through grace that you receive from God and learn to extend to yourself. You begin to see that your story didn't end when they left. In fact, God is still writing it, and the next chapters can be more beautiful than the ones that broke you. God knows exactly what you need to be whole again. He sees the parts of you that you've buried beneath disappointment and fear. He knows how to speak to your soul in a way no one else can. He sends peace that the world can't give and comfort that human words can't reach. When you let go of what hurt you and lean into what God has for you, healing starts to rise like the morning sun. Slowly but surely, light comes back to places that felt dark. You don't have to rush the process. Just keep trusting the one who knows how to make all things new.